Bonjour, bonjour, et re-bienvenue. Good morning, and welcome. So today we're going to be reviewing irregular verbs, okay? And like this little girl on the right, irregular verbs, sometimes they do their own thing. They do not follow the rules of conjugation to the fullest extent as regular verbs do. However, you do find that there are still some similarities between the infinitive verb and the conjugation of the irregular verb in some cases. So we're going to look at what that means definitively. We're going to look at the different irregular verbs that we'll be focusing on, and you're encouraged to ensure that you learn these verbs by heart. They have been put together in groups based on conjugation to make life easier for you, and some songs have been given. So learn the songs et on y va. Let's go. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. These three verbs, prendre, apprendre, and comprendre, have been grouped. Because once you know how to conjugate prendre, then you're good to go for apprendre and comprendre, because they have the same verb in it, prendre at the root. Okay, now we learned a song last term on how to conjugate the verb prendre by song. To the rising sun rhythm, it was je prends, tu prends, il, elle prend, nous prenons et vous prenez, ils prennent, elles prennent. So let's go. Once you get prendre, the rest are easy to conjugate. Please note, however, as we go through these verbs in a very succinct manner, it is just to help you to conjugate them. Alright, do not try to tackle all of them at once in one sitting. You don't want to get confused, even though it's revision. Okay, so take them one set at a time, one day at a time, or every couple of days. We'll be posting activities also on verb conjugation for these irregular verbs. Okay, let's go. Je prends, tu prends, il, elle, on, prend. So you notice the S's at the end of the words are not pronounced, nor most of the consonants. Nous prenons, vous prenez, ils, elles, prennent. So you see the change in the stem for nous, vous, and il, elle. The stem changes, okay? You drop the D for the nous, for the vous, and for the il, elle, you add an extra N. So now apprendre becomes easy. J'apprends, tu apprends, il, elle, on apprend, nous apprenons, vous apprenez, ils, elles apprennent. Okay? So all you do, remember to drop the E and put J apostrophe for apprendre, such as a vowel. Again, we have comprendre. Je comprends, tu comprends, il, elle, on comprend, nous comprenons, vous comprenez, ils, elles comprennent. Okay? Okay, so here we have the verbs partir, to leave, sortir, to go out, and dormir, to sleep. Partir, sortir, dormir. Okay, now let's see what they look like. They're all conjugated the same way once you get the understanding of the changes that happen in the stem. Okay, remember the stem is when you drop the ending of the verb, the IR. What you're left with is the stem. Drop the ending ER, IR, or RE. What you're left with is the stem. So PART is the regular stem, SORT is the regular stem, and the DORM for dormir is the regular stem. Alright, but the irregular verbs, the stem changes in irregular verbs. Alright, so let's see what that looks like. So for partir, you have je pars, tu pars. Notice I'm not saying pars. The S's are silent at the end of French words most of the time, the majority of the time. So je pars, tu pars, il, elle, on part. Yes, there's a T at the end, it's silent. Il, elle, on part. Nous partons. Vous partez. Ils, elles partent. Ils, elles partent. Okay, so they leave or they are leaving. Sortir. Je sors. Same thing, no T for the je. Je sors. So we see the stem has changed. Tu sors. The stem has changed. If it were a regular stem, you'd have S-O-R-T, but you have S-O-R, then you add the ending S, okay? Tu sors. Il est long, sort, with a T at the end. So strange, right? Nous sortons. Vous sortez. Et ils, elles sortent. Okay? Then finally we have dormir. Same applications. Je dors. Tu dors. Il et l'on dort. Nous dormons. Vous dormez. Il, elles dorment. Okay? So if you remember, the majority of the times these irregular verbs that you're learning here and now, in the il et l'on form, they have a T. So they drop the endings plus the last letter in the stem, in the regular stem. Okay, so for dormir, they would have dropped the endings, the ending IR. They drop the last letter of the regular stem, which is M, in the je, tu, and il et l'on form. Okay, so just practice and retain it and you'll be fine. Let's go on to the next set. Please remember, don't do all of this in one sitting. Take it one day at a time. So if you're learning these 3 today, we're going to put some practice exercises by verbs on Google Classroom. Thereafter, you can go ahead and learn another set and then we practice, okay? So here we have the verb venir, which means to come, and we have the verb tenir, which means to hold. Alright? Now please note very carefully any variation of this verb. So for example, if we had revenir, which you learned when you were doing the past tense using être. So revenir, to come back. You're going to conjugate it the end like you would apprendre or comprendre, right? The stem, venir, in it tells you that you're going to conjugate it like venir. So revenir, to come back. Retenir, to retain, right? Can also mean to remember, if I'm not mistaken. So revenir, to come back, and retenir, to retain, okay, or to hold, basically. So any variation of these verbs that you're about to conjugate here and now, you will conjugate them the same as the stem in it, the venir and the tenir, the root. Okay, so let's go. Some of you learned some songs, or you had to create some songs in grade 9 on how to conjugate the verb venir. That would definitely come in handy. I'm going to look for some of the songs that some of you guys did and post it. Alright, so you have je viens, tu viens, il, elle, on vient, nous venons, vous venez, ils, elles viennent. Alright, so we're seeing the changes in the stem. This is not how the stem normally is for venir. Same thing with tenir. Je tiens, tu tiens, il, elle, on tient. And we're seeing that good old T in the il, elle, on form, just like we saw it for sortir, for partir, for dormir, etc. Nous tenons, vous tenez, ils, elles tiennent. Okay? So once you get one, you get the other. They're pretty much similar. Alright? Let's keep going. Here we have the verbs vouloir and pouvoir. Vouloir, to wish or to want. Pouvoir, to be able to. So as we're learning these verbs, retain them. You know that they're also going to have irregular, some of them will have irregular past participles, and we're going to be looking at that later on when we look back at the past tense. So we have je veux, tu veux, il et l'on veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils, elles veulent. So again, je veux, tu veux, il et l'on veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils, elles veulent. Okay, it's not veux, it's noteux for pouvoir. Je veux, tu veux, il, elle, on veut, nous voulons, vous voulez, ils, elles veulent. Same thing with pouvoir. Je peux, or je puis, P-U-I-S, je puis or je peux, P-U-I-S, je puis or je peux. Je peux, tu peux, il est long, peut, nous pouvons, vous pouvez, ils, elles peuvent. Peuvent. Ils, elles peuvent. Okay, very irregular conjugation, but it comes with practice. Alright, let's continue. So you have the verb écrire, and the second one is décrire. Écrire to write, décrire to describe. Alright, so remember, this is just a generic column with a je, because écrit starts with an E. We're going to drop the E for je, and it will become je apostrophe. Please remember that. Okay, so it's j'écris, tu écris, il est long écrit, nous écrivons, vous écrivez, and ils, elles écrivent. The reason we're getting the Z sound is because of the liaison. L, E-L-L-E-S, ends with an S, and écrire starts with a vowel with an E. So you get the liaison sound between the S and the E. So j'écris, tu écris, il est long écrit, nous écrivons, liaison, vous écrivez, liaison, and ils, elles écrivent. Okay, that Z sound. Then you have décrire, which means to describe. Same treatment. Je décris, as it's a variation of the verb écrire. Je décris, tu décris, il est long décrit, nous décrivons, vous décrivez, ils, elles décrivent. You notice we didn't pronounce the S this time because décrire starts with a D. Alright? Now we have lire and dire. Okay? Lire to read, dire to say. Je lis, tu lis, il est long, lit, like a bed. On lit a bed. Anyhow, let me not get you bothered. Je lis, tu lis, il est long, lit. Nous lisons, vous lisez, ils, elles lisent. Dire, je dis, tu dis, il est long, dit. Nous disons, vous dites, ils, elles disent. Okay, so dear, you see here that is very irregular. D-I-T-E-S. Dites, vous dites. Qu'est-ce que vous dites? Sounds very, it just comes at you out of nowhere, so you just have to retain it. Alright, je dis, tu dis, il, elle dit, nous disons, vous dites, ils, elles disent. It's almost easy to say disait, but it's not, that's not the conjugation. Alright, so don't get it confused and think that because lire and dire are basically more or less, they have similar conjugations. Don't start writing vous lisez. Alright, vous lisez, but you say vous dites. Alright, let's go. Bonne continuation, and the practice exercises are coming. Don't worry, ne vous inquiétez pas. Ciao.